This is a plant. In this case, a sunflower. We know it's a sunflower because of its green leaves and yellow color. It needs sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water to grow, just like all other plants. This is George. He is a human. We know he is a human because of his frontal cortex and opposable thumbs. George also needs sunlight and water to grow, just like all living things. The process of turning sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water into sunflowers is called photosynthesis. As the sunflower grows, it takes carbon from the air, water from the ground, and stores them inside. In return, it produces oxygen, which George finds helpful. When sunflowers and other plants die, they lie down and take all of the carbon with them into the ground. They've been doing this for millions of years. George likes sunflowers. He even has a couple in his living room. George's grandparents are there. The sunflower's grandparents are not. But in a way, they are there. Because when George turns his kettle on to make his grandparents a cup of tea, the electricity comes from the sunflower's great-great-great-great-grandparents, who have turned into coal. Throughout history, especially the Carboniferous period 300 million years ago, plants that died were buried in layers under the ground, just like dinosaurs. This is how coal is created. It's a fossil fuel. So when George turns on his kettle to make his grandparents a cup of tea, who drink it with the help of their opposable thumbs, George is using electricity, which comes from a power plant that burns coal, which pulls lots of very old carbon out of the ground and into the air. Now humans, like George, have been making tea for many years. They've also made teacups, grown the tea, shipped the tea to supermarkets, made cars, roads, airplanes, and other things, all with the help of their frontal cortex and opposable thumbs. All the while, fossil fuels are burnt, and carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, is released into the atmosphere. It's called a greenhouse gas because it traps heat which warms the Earth. George and the 7 billion of his species have burned a great deal of fossil fuel. This is how much the level of carbon in the air has increased in just 150 years. So much that it's melting ice caps, which increases sea levels. So much that it is changing weather patterns, which makes it harder for farmers to grow tea and other things. George and his grandparents are smart. They will use their frontal cortex and opposable thumbs for something new, so they can continue to have tea and other things.